Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in for our updates from Israel session. I want to just, here we go, sharing my presentation here. So it's October 30th. We're going to get to the interesting news. Oh, just one second. WhatsApp is to close it. Just one second. Yes, okay, much better. Yeah, so we'll get to the very good news about the hostage that was released by the Israeli army, but I'm starting with this picture. I took it just earlier today, and what you see here is it's in Katamon, it's not too far from where I live. So you can see a reservist or a no, not a reservist, it looks like a regular soldier with his, I'm not sure, friend or wife, I'm not sure. People get married very early here. So that's one thing. On the left side, you can see the pictures of those who were kidnapped, the hostages, the Israeli hostages in Gaza. And over here, it says in Hebrew, Hevel Tkuma, it means the region of the independence, almost, you can say. So instead of calling the Gaza envelope, the area that was attacked, all the kibbutzes and all the farmers communities over there, instead of calling it Gaza envelope, they're trying to change the name of it to I guess the region or the province maybe of the independence, something like that. Okay, not the best translation, but I'll work on it because many people look at it as a new independence war, lots of threats. I mean, we're just seeing the beginning of it. We don't know how it's going to end. We still have threats from Lebanon, from Syria, from Iran, from this, from that. So it really feels like something big is happening, not just in the scale and the amount of casualties and specifically civilian casualties. It's also, again, the level of threats that are going on. So this is just from earlier today in Jerusalem. So if you didn't catch up, the good news are that the Israeli army, as it's operating in Gaza Strip, managed to get to gather intelligence about a soldier that was captured and kidnapped into Gaza and was located somewhere in that area, and they actually managed to release her. So this young woman in the middle, this young soldier, her name is Ori Megilish. She's from a town in the south, not too far from Beersheba, called Kiryat Gat. And we just have to keep praying that we'll get all our hostages back. It's a very important objective of this operation. Plus, practically demilitarize Gaza and take all the military capabilities of Hamas. Again, this is like an objective that was set somewhat by the government, not too explicitly. This is what I would say the Israeli public is very much looking for. The leadership is expected to do that. But let's see how things turn out. But at the moment, we're just celebrating her release, and we hope that there's more to follow. We're also saddened to hear about the death of Shani Luke, one of those who were kidnapped. At first, they were not sure if she's alive or not, and they found bones from her skull, pieces of bones from her skull, and DNA test proved that that's hers, and she could not survive such a. She was probably shot and killed, and that's at the moment that she was kidnapped in October 7th. She was already dead. We have photos of her in videos of her being kidnapped into Gaza Strip, and at that point she was already dead, but we were not sure until today. So very sad. She was a part of that the music festival, and she was 23 years old. A really sad picture of the children of the kibbutz Be'eri, one of the kibbutzes that were really lost many of the members of the kibbutz, and the children that you see over here were all killed during the attack. brutally, and we pray for their souls, and we hope that their purity and their righteousness will protect us all. This is a picture from Jerusalem. It's called Safra Square. Safra Square is where the city hall basically, and they have this display of beds of children and toddlers that were kidnapped. About 30 of them are in Gaza, minors basically, and this is, I think, one of the most painful part of the entire attack, that we have children there. This family, I talked about them in the past, Kotz family that was killed in the attack together. They were basically burnt in their shelters, and just so you understand the contrast, okay, and that Saturday of the attack, they initiated for a while, but they planned to have a kite festival in front of the Gaza Strip. And the idea was that I remember it was going on for a few years, and apparently this family was involved in that, or even initiated that. I'm not sure, didn't fully understand, but definitely were involved in these kite festivals. And the idea was that to show the Gazans that there are people on the Israeli side that are flying these kites and are interested in having peace with their neighbors, and that was their plan for that Saturday of the attack. So it's just horrific to see again these families, these peace-seeking families that were killed. I mentioned in the past Vivian Silver, that was very much involved in helping Gazans to get into hospitals in Israel. And so all these different peace activists that were killed, this is just shows the barbarity of the enemy on the other side. And some would say the naivety of these people, and some would say no, these guys have pure heart. They do want to make a difference, and they thought that their white heart will change the minds of the people on the other side. So this is again for the Kotz family. May their memory be a blessing to us all. I mentioned that before. I think it was yesterday. The heroism of some of the soldiers and security forces and policemen and women in the battle against the terrorists is just unbelievable. I want to introduce you to this woman. She's alive. Her name is Shifra Buchris, and she's the commander of one of the units of the border police. She's a mother of 10, and she's a mother of 10. And as the attack was launched and they understood they have to do the counterattack, she went to one of the kibbutzes near that area called Kibbutz Re'im. And for 12 hours, her team was basically fighting in that area of the music festival in order to save as many people as possible. So just the level of heroism of these people, again, including Shifra Buchris, a mother of 10, just unbelievable. So we are praying for the hostages that will be safe and secured, and will be saved. We're praying for those who were wounded and that they will recover. We're praying for those who died in the attack and their families that will be comforted, and we're praying for the survivors to restart their life after this tragedy and this trauma, and keep their sanity and be safe both physically and mentally. We're praying for our brave soldiers in the front, and we're praying for the volunteers of Zaka that I mentioned before, those who bring all the bodies of those who were killed and mutilated into we call it the Tomb of Israel, meaning they get a proper burial and not just scattered out there, God forbid. So we're praying for all of them. Psalm 18 is a bit long, so I won't read all of it. I do want to read some of it. So that's what I'm going to read in Hebrew now. כי אתה עם עני תושיע ועיניים רמות תשפיל, כי אתה תאיר נרי, אדוני יגיע חושקי, כי בך ערוץ גדוד ובאלוהי אדלג שור, האל תמים דרכו, אמרת אדוני צירופה, מגן הוא לכל החוסים בו, כי מי אלוה מבלעדי אדוני, מי צור זולתי אלוהינו, האל המעזרני חיל ויתן תמים דרכי, משווה רגלי כאיילות ועל במותי יעמידני, מלמד ידי למלחמה וניחתה קשת נחושה זרועותי, ותיתן לי מגן ישעיך וימינך תסעדני וענוותך תרבני. תרחיב צעדי תחתי ולא מעדו קרסולי, ארדוף אויבי ואשיגם ולא אשוב עד כלותם. אמחצם ולא יאכלו קום, יפלו תחת רגלי, ותעזרני חיל למלחמה. ואחרי הקמי תחתי ואויבי נתת לי עורף, ומשנאי עצמיתם. ישברו ואין מושיע על אדוני ולא ענם, וישחקם כעפר על פני רוח. יתית חוצות עריקם, תפלטני מריבי עם, תשימני לראש גויים, העם לא ידעתי יעבדוני, לשם האוזן ישמעו לי, בני נכר יחשו לי. בני נכר יבולו ויחגו ממסגרותיהם, חי אדוני וברוך צורי, וירום אלוהי ישעי, האל הנותן נקמות לי, וידבר עמים תחתי. Okay, this is Psalm 18. Before we start the updates, we'll also pray for the brave soldiers, the Misha Berach prayer, and this is this is the beginning of the update. So let's wait with that. If there is any questions that came up, anything you want to express, anything you want to add for the prayer, you're most welcome. Just open the microphone, or if you want to write on the chat, just feel absolutely free. Okay. So I want to start with the updates. So around, I think somewhere around 3 or 4 p.m. Israel time, just 6 or 7 hours ago, Hamas launched released this video of a few of the women that were kidnapped. Rimon is the lady on the left, Danielle in the middle, she was the one that spoke, and Elena, the one on the right. And they're all in their late 30s to 50s, and they were asking Netanyahu, the prime minister, to release them for the basically the Palestinian prisoners. When I saw this video earlier today, I felt that there is a lot of positivity in it, in the sense that, first of all, we see that these ladies are alive, and second, we understand that Hamas is under tremendous pressure. It shows that Hamas is under tremendous pressure. The way they released the video shows that they are losing control in the area. They're losing a lot of people. We have the good news about the soldier that was released, Ori, and it shows that they are really looking for ceasefire, really looking for some negotiation, and it's all a part of this psychological trick, and they're using our values and our mindset in order to trick us into their interests. So this whole idea of let's have ceasefire, it sounds really, really good to Israeli ears, to Western ears in general. Yeah, let's ceasefire. It's better not to shoot than to shoot. But then it just exploits this goodness, I guess, that there is, a naivety that there is in Western and democratic societies. But it just goes to show you that it's a psychological trick. Like, because there is the pressure, because there's the military pressure going on in Gaza, that's why they're asking for ceasefire. So this is exactly what you don't want to give them. So I'm just saying that when I saw this, I was not smiling, but because it's sad to know that they are imprisoned there. But it just goes to show you that good, the IDF is working and the pressure is building up, and it could work for the better, because if there is no such pressure, then Hamas will basically prolong it for years and years on end, and they wouldn't mind. Okay, they will just go through these negotiations, just torture us with their psychological trick and negotiations trick. So it's good that the IDF is there and gathering intelligence, destroying their capabilities, etc. So again, don't fall for that. If you see that and you're wondering what Israel should do, and then this is my honest opinion, I think many Israelis share it. This is from earlier today. After a few weeks, my wife and I decided to sit a little bit and eat something outside, and then we had the alarm going on in Jerusalem, and we went to this shelter near that restaurant. So we're just hanging out there for 10 minutes, heard a couple of booms. Then on the left picture, that's a few minutes later, everyone's back sitting. So it just goes to show you the new normal, I would say, now in Israel. That's how it looks like. Okay, just banners that are hanged in on the streets of Jerusalem. The blue one says, "One nation with one heart." Yeah, One Nation, One Heart. It's an organization. It's a pretty big organization of volunteers, I must say. You can check it out. It's completely legit organization, so I didn't add it to the donation list, but I'm just letting you know it exists. And the one on the left says, we need to defeat Gaza now. And there is something in it that was a bit not surprising, but there's a nuance here that I wanted to emphasize, and it's very much connected to things we talked in the past. Defeating Gaza now, not defeating Hamas now. So for many years, and I was upset with that, the governments in Israel were kind of dividing between the population, the civilians in Gaza, and Hamas, as if they are not, Hamas is like an organic, as I said, it's an organic part of the Palestinian society. So this nuance was very interesting to see that. The banner says defeat Gaza, as if it's the approach that says Gaza is de facto state. It's a de facto country with borders, with functioning government, with population, with taxation, institutions, army, and all the rest. So we need to defeat the country that is called Gaza. Okay, that's what I take from this banner. Just an interesting nuance here. This is a quote of Naomi Shemer. She's a very, very famous musician in Israel, passed away, I want to say probably 20 years ago, and maybe more. Naomi Shemer, and she's saying this: we left the exile because we're fed up with being a minority, but here, meaning in Israel, we feel uncomfortable in the role of the majority, or in being a majority. So it's again, it's that mindset of Jews in exile for many, many years feel uncomfortable being too powerful or exercising power. And one of the important things of the Zionist revolution is to get the Jews physically out of the exile and establish a country. But there needs to be another kind of revolution within Israel. Once the Jews were gathered back into the land of Israel, now there's another revolution that needs to take place in the hearts of the Jews in Israel that will take the exile, the experience of the exile, out of their hearts. See? This mentality of being a minority and trying to appease everyone around us, she's going against that. Again, her name is Naomi Shemer, very, very famous Israeli musician. What you see here is, I really like this video because of the musician here with the guitar. It says on the top, this is what the Jewish people stand for. Okay, so what you see here is the gentleman over here with the guitar is Yisrael Chai, a very, very prominent Israeli musician that is giving, he's making soldiers happy, soldiers that were injured during the attack, make them happy in the different hospitals. So you can see the soldier on the left side, and everyone. It was like a beautiful party in the hospital, and the songs that he wrote is I think captures not just the essence of Israel, but also the essence of generations of Jews. He's a very special musician, I must say. Yishai Ribo. So Yishai, like Jesse, Ribo, R-I-B-O. So check him out. He's an amazing musician. Okay. The reservists are very, very funny, I must say. And they're just uploading all kinds of funny videos from their service. So there on the top it says, wow, they're such heroes, like the reservists. And then it says, we, and like, meanwhile, what do? We just play tennis here. We don't really do much. So a lot of self-humor in that. Over here, this guy made a video about different types of reservists, okay? So the one here is that the one that smokes pot, that was too low, that spent too much time in India. The one on top is that ninja guy that is, all waiting for the ground attack. Here it's the guy that always speaks with his girlfriend on the phone, and here at the bottom is the one that falls asleep everywhere. So that was a funny video. This is a sketch of Eretz Nehederet. Eretz Nehederet is like 20-something years old show in Israel. Eretz Nehederet in Hebrew means a beautiful country or marvelous country. And it's a satiric show, very, very famous, very mainstream satiric show in Israel for probably more than 20-something years. And they are very, very funny. And what it says here, the commander here says, okay, we are gathering all the platoon, go up to the bus. You, the anarchists, you, those who are fans of Netanyahu, you who are traitors, you who are the lefties, you who are the far right, you who crazy settlers. So in a way, once you call people for the reserve, you'll meet people from all walks of life, and they will all meet together in reserve army to fight for the actual cause. In keeping the Jewish state alive in a way. So it's a satiric sketch about all the 9 months or 10 months of them ongoing demonstrations against the judicial reform, and all of a sudden in 48 hours or less, even 24 hours, everything switched. The entire country is now united against an enemy, and all these disputes are, pushed aside because they're just not as important. And I don't think it's going to be as important going forward. I think it's going to be to change the entire mindset of people going forward. It's a really seismic event, I would say, not just in the history of modern Israel, but the history of the world, as I mentioned it before, and I will talk about it again. Yes, Emily, humor is a great stress reliever, and it's not just the stress reliever, it's just really, humor is a tool to reflect on our society, and that's why I'm giving these things, not just to make the updates light. I think through the self-humor of Israelis, we can really learn a lot about what's going on, so it serves this purpose, I hope. Over here, this is a famous restaurant not too far from Jerusalem, Haknaanit, meaning the Canaanite. Okay, it's a very famous restaurant here, very good one. And they threw a barbecue for reserve soldiers. And then one of the soldiers, his name is Yoni, he said, okay, on one of the shelves, I'll write for the Knaanit, for this restaurant. You gave us a great favor with throwing this barbecue for us. We'll dedicate one of the shelves for you. Okay, going to the west. I mentioned that it's a seismic event again. In globally, I would say there are many conflicts around the world right now. The expulsion of Muslims in Thailand, and Nagorno-Karabakh in Armenia, and Azerbaijan, and whatnot, like Ukraine, of course. There's a lot going on. But I don't think you'll see such massive demonstrations as the conflict in Israel. And what you see here is just all kinds of demonstrations, and I want to share this part with you. So on the right side, it's the Maoris in New Zealand are in support of Israel, doing their special dance. If you're not familiar with their dance, then you should check it out. Over here, it's another video that says "Free Sweden from Palestine." Okay, we don't want all these demonstrations. We're not a part of that cause. And on the left side, in London, London is so captured, you can't even show the British flag without getting attacked by Muslims. Okay, so this is criticism against what's going on in the streets of London. Again, I'm not there, but maybe Chris want to shed some light on it. No problem. In America, I'm not sure if they are Jewish, but it's a Jewish organization basically that in support, I think it's called Jewish Voice for Palestine, if I remember correctly. But again, it doesn't mean that these protesters were Jewish, not in our name, meaning not in the name of Jewish people, let's say. And many of them were arrested because of I guess, protests that went out of control. But again, I didn't go too deep into each case, but there was a line here of probably 40 people or 50 people that were arrested following that demonstration. It goes to show you that being, let's say, in support of Hamas or in support of that horrific terror attack should not go quietly in Western societies. Western democratic societies should condemn these type of protests that I mean, for Hamas or for the Palestinian genocidal cause. I would say from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. It's not just a nice chant, okay? It's a call for annihilation of Israel and the genocide of Jews in Israel. So this arrest, the comments, like there, you see there are like 200 comments over there. A lot of it was, oh, finally, maybe we should do the same in Israel. Meaning Israel is not as hard line. There's this freedom of speech on one hand, but when it comes to being in support of terrorist organizations, then maybe it should be different. Eli Roth, if you're familiar with the movie of Quentin Tarantino, Inglourious Basterds, he was the Bear Jew. If you didn't watch this movie, then you should. And it's basically a fictional movie of Tarantino about the Second World War and how there's this squad of Jews that are basically taking action against the Nazis, and it's quite entertaining. And one of the people in that squad is the actor Eli Roth is playing it, is the Bear Jew, like a very, very strong Jewish guy. And they're all speaking German and infiltrate into the enemy lines. It's a very interesting story. So Inglourious Basterds, check it out. It's a very funny movie. And Noah Tishby here on the left, she's Israeli living in America. I'm not sure exactly where right now. Very outspoken and doing a lot of public speaking for Israel. Arabs in Israel. On the right side, it's an actress called Mona Hawa, and she also, I mean, I didn't go again deep into her post, but she came up in the news as a woman that denied that, an Arab woman that denied the atrocities of October 7th, and implicitly she's basically saying that it was not that bad. Like 1,400 people killed, but it's not that bad. They didn't, I don't know, beheaded babies or something like that. I'll say something about these whole horrific pictures that are not published, actually. In Israel, there is it's not exactly a debate, but this concept is very, very strong in Judaism, not to desecrate the dead, okay? Not to desecrate the dead. Those who died deserve to be buried as soon as possible, as fast as possible, and like showing the images of their mutilated bodies is disrespect for the dead. So it's very difficult in the Israeli culture, in the Jewish tradition, to do such a thing. So when the calls are of foreign medias to publish, to publish it, or even some Israelis are saying we should publish it. People need to see the horrors. People need to know what happened on October 7th. It's very different, very difficult for Israelis to accept that. I would say, even myself, it's like I'm struggling with that. And also, okay, you want to show the atrocities, but those who don't want to listen, those who will see that and will just mock our dead babies, they won't be convinced anyway. They will say, "Oh, it's AI, it's artificial intelligence that generated this. You're faking it. It's not true. It's not real. It took you a whole month to prepare these photos." They will desecrate the dead. You see. So in a way, those who don't want to be convinced by the atrocities, these pictures won't help it. Okay. So I want to touch that point. On the left side, on the other hand, it's a picture from the Lower Galilee. There's a cluster of Arab villages and Jewish villages eastern of Haifa, and over here in the square around that Arab town, it says "good neighbors even in hard days or difficult times." And then these are the residents of Shfa'am, which is it's an Arab town, and a few others Jewish Israeli towns. Okay, so that's what you see here. Again, good neighbors even in hard times. There's another ongoing claim for many years, it's not new, that Israel is committing genocide against the Palestinians and ethnic cleansing. Okay, so what you see here is these are charts that basically shows the ethnic cleansing, let's say, or depopulation of Jews clearly in Europe because of the Holocaust, and also in Arab countries between the 1948 or late 40s to somewhere in the 60s, even 70s, I would say, in different parts of the Arab world. In Iran, for example, many Jews left Iran in the 70s after the revolution, or as the revolution was about to happen. So yeah, between these few decades, most of the Jews in the different Muslim countries completely disappeared, but at the same time, the Palestinian population grew, I don't know, like 10 times or so, maybe more. Okay? So if, for example, in Israel in 1948, after the independence war, there were about 100,000 Arab Israelis, 100,000 citizens, Arab citizens. Today, there are about 2 million, so 20-fold. So that just to give you a sense of, again, how successful the genocide against the Palestinians is, which is not, of course. These are pictures I took from the Telegram of, it's called Gaza Live. You don't have to follow it. I promise that I will just share with you what's going on over there. So I won't show anything that is too hard to watch. So don't worry about it. But I kind of want to share with you this propaganda machine of the Gaza Live Telegram. So here, for example, you'll see a protest of the Jews in Iran, about 10,000 of them, against, the total population, Jewish population in Iran is about 10,000 or 11,000, something like that. So they were protesting against the Zionist government and in solidarity of the people in Palestine, and they're asking the international community to intervene. Okay, that's essentially what they are saying. We, the Jews in Iran, are condemning the criminal activity or the atrocities or the crimes, maybe, of the Zionist regime against defenseless people of Palestine. Okay, that's on the left. On the right side, you can see the speech of one of the rabbis. Again, I'm not very familiar with this community, but it's in the synagogue, and you can see the Iranian flag here on the right. Okay, so clearly, when you are a minority in Iran, you don't want to shake the boat too much. I will also say that for the Iranian regime, this is the normal situation of Jews. They're supposed to be, inferior, second-class citizens under the Islamic rule. Okay, so I'm not sure if they are discriminated in other ways. Okay, historically, yes, but I'm not sure exactly if and how they are discriminated right now. But I will say that that's as far as the Islamic world concerned, and definitely the Iranian Shiite regime concerned, that's the normal way of life, okay? That Muslims are in control and different minorities are under them. So this historical accident of the modern state of Israel is, of course, unaccepted. In that telegram of Gaza Live, you'll see a lot of stuff like on the left, okay, the mujahideen, okay, those who do the jihad, basically, what we would call the terrorists, okay. So the mujahideen, or the fighters of the different terror groups. By the way, we talk about Hamas and Islamic Jihad, but there are a total of about maybe 10 organizations, including ISIS. So total 10 terror groups, but the biggest one, of course, is Hamas. On the right side, you'll see the smoke coming from some area that was bombed. These are the type of things that you'll see over there. You'll see pictures and videos from the attack of October 7th. Again, I didn't bring anything that is too graphic, but what I was very interested in is what it says here at the bottom. Okay, so this is the attack on one of the military bases near Gaza. You can see the Palestinians. These are civilians, by the way. These are not terrorists per se. And you can see them standing on the tank. And it says in the bottom, I'm not sure the first one, Kisman Billah, I guess swear to God, I'm not sure. And then it says something that lift up our heads, okay, give us pride, basically. Give us pride. I mentioned that before, maybe a few days ago, that you'll see that in many of their videos, the idea of Yerfa ras, okay, Yerfa ras meaning that to lift up our heads, okay, in pride, okay, in face of the ongoing attack of the Zionist regime, we are now giving it back to them, and it makes us proud, okay? So it's an ongoing thing. I heard it many times over the years, okay? That even if it's I don't know, a suicide bomber or just a stabbing attack, okay, or a ram kind of terror attack, ramming people with a car. All these terror attacks are basically considered things that lift up their head. Part of again, this is in their Telegram, so you'll see many people that were injured, and in many cases, it really looks fake. It just looks like they put some makeup on almost, okay? Now I'm not saying there are no casualties. I'm not saying people are not injured in Gaza, but I'm just saying that when you look at the Telegram, you can almost say this is very strange. And they actually found a video over there that the corpse, allegedly corpse, was actually lifting up its head. So this is just a joke, okay? At least in this case. Again, I'm not saying that there is no suffering right now in Gaza. I'm just saying that there's a lot of show in it, and it's a part of that propaganda machine I was referring to. Okay, so this is children that were hit. Now I don't know which child was actually hit or not. Okay, I'm not saying that, but what I want to share with you here is that in the Telegram, when they show people that were injured, they mainly, I want to say like 90-something% of these pictures will be of children and babies. Okay, so that's again shows you the tone. Okay, any questions before we move forward? Any questions at all about the updates? Feel absolutely free again. If you have anything you want to share? Okay. Yeah. You can write on the chat as always. Chris, I don't know if you have anything to comment about London and okay.
Well, I can I can only say what I saw on the news myself, and that's just thousands of people every weekend now demonstrating and also using hate speech and shouting jihad and all the other things that should be forbidden, but the police is not really taking measures that would be according to what's happening there. Yeah, it's hard to watch, but I'm not too deep into it. I think it's also happening in other cities here in the UK a lot. And
is it daily, or you said just the weekend? Which day?
so it's on the weekend, so it's mostly Saturdays.
Saturdays.
Yeah.
Okay.
That but I just saw it in the news. I didn't see it personally. And and we had some of the posters of the kidnapped people in a specific place close to the main station here. And after a while, half of them were gone. And interestingly, the ones with the children were gone. So
each of that, say it again.
The ones that showed abducted children were gone.
Wow.
So half of the I would say half of these pictures of the kidnapped people were still there, but those that showed the children, they were gone.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, again, it shows the inhumanity of Hamas. So if they just see soldiers or whatever that were kidnapped or adults, okay. So people are saying, yeah, it's not that bad. But to see babies and children kidnapped into Gaza, that's something. It's create this, I guess, cognitive dissonance for people. What, like Hamas? We're taking actual children? This is unacceptable. So I think that's what they're aiming for. Okay, so Nan is mentioning that in Canada it's also on the weekends. Lorraine says, yes, that is true. Weekends there are demonstrations. So Nan, anything from Canada I want to share? I also am very interested in, the response of, people that are maybe not demonstrating, not necessarily that they have a very strong opinion, but what are people saying about these demonstrations from what you know?
I find them very disturbing, Edamar.
Yeah.
The hate and the denial of what's going on is just unbearable at times, and no one seems to do anything about it. And I think the Canadian government has to get stronger on them. And I've encouraged that. I've written to my MP and I've written to the Prime Minister, of course, with no response, but I've done it, and I will continue to.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So thank you very much.
I have one thing that I was sharing. I'm from Germany, but I don't live in Germany.
Yeah.
But what I find some glimpse of hope is that that there is now a growing number of people in Germany that says this is completely unacceptable, that people celebrate on German streets the massacre of civilians. And so, I mean, I don't know if we can trust that, but even the chancellor said that he wants to really now make a point and I don't know the word in English, put those people that engage in this kind of propaganda out of the country.
Okay.
there is a lot of, I've seen a lot of memes that there's this slogan, never again. And people are posting memes like never again is now.
Yeah. So it's like to revoke their residency or revoke their, their visas.
Yes, indeed. So this is what and one thing that I think is really also quite encouraging, or has been over the years. There is one, I think the biggest tabloid in Germany is they're also posting a lot of, tabloid stuff that's not really great. And but they have, to me, they are one of the most reliable sources in reporting about Israel, because they are really reporting what you are telling us too. So they have this in their manifesto
Okay.
from their founding time, that when you work with this tabloid, you are not supposed to be anti-Israel. So if I if I go to their website, they will pretty faithfully report about stuff that the BBC kind of media never reports about. So also in the former years, not only now, but now it's absolutely on their front page every day. And I think if it's the biggest tabloid, there is also some hope that I think that people can't ignore that, Yes, so this is something that gives me a bit of hope that the voice that they are raising is so strong. They have condemned the German Minister of Foreign Affairs for her behavior in the UN, from abstaining to when they made this resolution about the ceasefire. So they find very clear words for things like that. And this is something that I find positive. Yeah.
Cool. Again, thank you. Lorraine is adding, what is that? A lot of Jewish people are having, okay, a lot of Jewish people are having to hide their identity. This is so sad. Yes, I agree. Too much hate going on. Lorraine, just remind me where you live. Today, a taxi driver shockingly told me that Hamas are not terrorists. Yeah. So where do you live, Lorraine? To remember. Ah, okay. Also London. Okay. Yeah. So thank you for sharing your experience in London and in Canada. Okay. So in Cambridge. Okay, Chris. Thank you. So what I wanted to do now on the it's called the Arab, the geopolitical part is not anything geopolitical actually. I actually want to talk a little bit about myself and share a photo with you. As you know, my family is from Yemen and Morocco, and my parents always spoke Hebrew to me and my sisters, but they knew all kinds of catchphrases in Arabic, and it was there. It was not a lot, but in our childhood growing up, we did hear some Arabic from our grandparents and older uncles. Again, not necessarily, not like entire conversations in Arabic, but mainly catchphrases. In the case of my Moroccan side, they were actually speaking, like I heard conversations in Moroccan Arabic every now and then in my uncles. Not very often, but it was a thing. Because again, some of my uncles came in their late teen years, and some of them were in their 20s. One of them was actually married with a child when they came in from Morocco in '61. So they were very conversant in Arabic and in French, and yeah, every now and then I was very much exposed to Arabic as a child. So I was always interested in it, and I was always interested in learning it. So I pursued that, and after, like in my high school years, I studied Arabic, mainly what is called the literature Arabic. It's called Fusha in Arabic. Fusha, it means again the standard, I would say, Arabic. So all the Arab world has the same literature Arabic. It's called Fusha, but there are 5 main dialects, and they branch off to hundreds of dialects. So in Israel alone, I can actually tell people and where they're from just from hearing the way they speak. So the picture that I want to share with you is a very important moment in my early life. Okay, so this is I assume that you can trace me over there with the Bedouins. So when I was right after high school, I took a gap year before my army service, and I volunteered with the Arab tribes of the south of Israel, the Bedouin tribes. They are Arab Muslims, but they're not, this specific tribe is not very much affiliated with the Palestinians. There are not too many Palestinian women married to the men of the tribe, at least not when I was teaching there. I was teaching English and Hebrew and math and all kinds of stuff like that. Again, it was like a whole gap year, so I did it voluntarily. I was just very interested in having a direct contact and direct experience with the Arabs, and not just through books, let's say, in the case of my high school years. And the family and the gentleman over here on the left, the older guy, his name is Abdallah. He was what is called in Arabic a judge. It was a Qadi. Qadi means a judge. It's more of a tribe. It's not like an actual court. Okay, it's not recognized by any of the authorities, but it's the tribal. He's a tribal judge. Okay, so if there are all kinds of disputes, people are coming to him, and there's like a whole, let's say, negotiation going on, and he comes up with his verdict or his solution, how to compromise the two sides and how to reach a reasonable agreement between them in order to prevent, in some cases, bloodshed even. So if one side need to compensate the other, or one side need to leave altogether, leave the area for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and live in different parts of the country for this amount of time, then he will call the shots. Okay, and he's just a very respected person. He died maybe 20 years ago, but I was actually teaching his grandchildren, his many grandchildren. I'm not sure if he had like 200, or I'm not sure how many, but he had a lot. So so my experience with the Bedouin Arabs was very, like, just an amazing experience, unforgettable year. The most hospitable people, really embraced me as a son, and because I'm Jewish, I had full access to the women's tent. Okay, so to the women tent, meaning they didn't look at me as because I'm not a Bedouin, I'm not a Muslim. They had no issue with me. For me, I was like just a foreigner that comes and can come and go from one tent to the other. I had female friends over there. The mothers and the daughters of this tribe were very close to me, and they felt very comfortable with me. So it was a very unique experience to have this kind of special view, inside the view of these tribes. So beside of being very, very hospitable, you're also exposed to a different rhythm of life. When I say that, I mean, I'll give you a specific example. Some people there are not interested in working all year round. They would work, for example, 1 month or 2 months, and if the money is enough for the next 1 or 2 months, then they just stop working for this amount of time. And during that time, a lot of what they do is to strengthen the tribal connections. So a lot of visits, very long visits to one tent to the, no, it's not exactly tents, in some cases it's shacks like that, but to visit one another and spend time with each other, and spend time with relatives from other tribes, let's say those who they got the parents of their wives, okay, their in-laws, etc. Kind of strengthen the different bonds, the different ties of this tribe, and it's supposed to, in a way, keep things calm, okay? So keep things calm between them. So that's a very, very different rhythm of life. When you're coming to visit them, it's not like you'll visit for 1 hour or 2 hours. It has to be a day, 2 days, you have to sleep over. That's the kind of visits you have. In some cases, we just came to visit, and then they slaughtered the sheep, or were about to slaughter a sheep for us, as if we're in the days of Abraham. And then, it's a slow cook, so it takes like a few hours until it's ready. And in the meanwhile, you're having a little barbecue with the internal organs, and then then you actually have the dinner, and then you'll have to stay for the night, and then it goes on and on. So the idea is that in their tribal rules, a guest can stay for 3 days and a third of a day, a few hours, like 8 hours or so, and a guest doesn't have to even say his name. When you entered the tent or when you entered the shack, you're a guest. No one will ask you anything. You just feel completely comfortable. Sit down. You'll get your coffee. You'll get your tea. You'll get your dinner. You'll get everything you need for free, and almost 3.5 days. They won't even ask you for your name. If you don't want to say it, it's absolutely fine with them. And when you have to leave, just go. And this way of life that we hear about in the Bible, like from the stories of Abraham, the angels that he takes care of them, it's there. Okay, there are many parallels. This type of lifestyle is very much the rhythm of the desert. You cannot survive in the desert unless you have this very strict codes. You don't have any police force to enforce hospitality, but you know that one day you're going to be a guest of someone else. So you want to be famous for your hospitality, because, as they say, the guest is a poet. The guest is a poet. It's a very famous saying of the Bedouins. If you have good hospitality, then all the other tribes will know of your hospitality, and your name will be great among them, and it can solve a lot of problems in the future. So this is again the type of life they have. I'll say that during the attack of October 7th, not specifically here in the tribe that I was where I worked, but not too far from there, there was a rocket that hit a house, I guess, or something in that area, and 5 people were killed, and they were very upset. The people there were very upset because they don't have any alarm and any Iron Dome. As far as the, let's say, the security system concerned, when the rocket hits there, it hit just an open area, just a field. And why is that? How come the Iron Dome doesn't protect these parts of the desert? It's called the unrecognized villages and towns of the Bedouins. So you know what? We will show you it on Google Earth. It will make it easier, just so you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's the Gaza Strip. We're in the southern part of Israel. So here's the Gaza Strip, and from the Gaza Strip to the east, southeast, all this area, let me just draw this. All this area is populated with different tribes. And in many cases, the tribes are not in actual towns. Let me just erase this. Okay, we have few Bedouin, let's call it, towns. Like Rahat is probably the biggest of them. So it's like pretty densely populated, more than other parts. But in other cases, that's how it looks like. See? Houses every now and then. See that? There were Kilis, so this is one tribe. Then you have this area, Al-Huzail. That's kind of how it looks like. See? Scattered on the different hills. So these are areas that are not really recognized by Israel, there are all kinds of changes. Okay, here's another town, for example, Kseife. Okay, so Kseife is an actual town. So this area will be protected by Iron Dome, but these areas will not. And the rockets hit areas that were considered to be open fields, but actually there are people living there. So yeah, so I was serving in my gap year. I was actually volunteering in these communities in a place called Lakia. Lakia is over here. It's a town north of Beersheba. So this area is an actual town, but not too far from it, all this area, see? This is not really recognized as an actual village. So Iron Dome will, if they will detect that the rocket will fall somewhere here, there won't be any interception of it. So this is again the problem of these people. So I want to share just a few words about it, just about me serving there and my experience of working with them. That was very good. And this is where I learned a lot of my Arabic. This is my Bedouin Arabic. And after that, I pursued my studying of Arabic and Islam in university, and to this day, I would say I'm still trying to learn and understand Muslim societies and Arab societies to this day. Okay, any questions about that? I saw some action on the chat actually. Let me see. Joyce is asking mainly, what was the, can't remember the context, sorry.
Paul asked
about the shepherds. Yeah, go ahead.
And yeah. I said, you mean mainly shepherds.
They're not shepherds. They used to be, but they work in all kinds of jobs. So some work in manual jobs, or like in construction, gas stations, and transportation, things like that, trucks. Okay, and some are teachers and work in let's call it other maybe white collar jobs. Could be lawyers, etc. So it's now they work in all fields. There are shepherds over there. I mean, I know that some of the family members still take care of the flock. Not every family, but there are families that still have herds. Usually they don't have they have other areas where they take the sheep too, and the goats too. It's not so much in the desert, because in the desert there is food, but not a lot, not enough. So they go up north, and it's regulated by the Israeli government. So they actually get a license to be in a certain area for the so the flock would graze over there. Yeah, that's how it works basically. Okay, let's see what else. Total population of Bedouins, few hundreds of thousands. I mean, it's probably in the neighborhood of 400,000. And there are Bedouins in the north too, which are completely urbanic. None of them are nomadic. In the south, most of them are not nomadic anymore. They're static for the last 20 something years, maybe 30 years. But there are exceptions. There are a few families that are quite nomadic to this day. Few, but there are near Mitzpe Ramon area. So again, we're talking about a few hundreds of thousands, probably in the neighborhood of 400,000. Welcome, Justine. I want to share this with you. And
Itamar.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many are in a typical tribe? What's the numbers in a typical tribe, and how many tribes are there approximately?
A few dozens of tribes, probably 40.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but again, these are things that I knew in the past, but I just kind of forgot it. But few dozens, I would say. And then you have each tribe could be a few thousands of people even. And in the case of the tribe that when I was in that tribe, I think there were like 5,000 of them. And when I say 5,000, they are real kins. They are like really related to each other. Like it's either their first or second cousins. That's it. So imagine living with 5,000 of your family members all around you.
Wow.
It's crazy. So it creates a very, very different mentality. There are tribes that are very large. I mean, there are tribes that are in Israel and in Jordan, and some even in parts of the West Bank, that are, I want to say, 20,000 people. Okay, so it's when we're talking about these tribal societies, it's a real thing. And when you have a tribal society, you do everything to protect the tribe, kind of like in Sicily, you need to protect the family. So this is the type of mentality, and that's why the Bedouin rules are very, very strict. I mean, if you cannot attack one tribe without a massive retaliation. It's disproportionate retaliation. If there is if someone kills another from another tribe, the entire tribe could run for its life in some cases. Okay, so it's because the retaliation is massive, and I've seen it with my own eyes in one case during my service over there. There was an incident that there was just a fight between young men in their 20s, I guess, and one of them was killed. And I was teaching in that town, in school in that town, Lakia, and a child from the family of those of the killer, okay, he could not go to school anymore. See, he could not go there. He would be, because there are chances he would be killed. Also, there were barricades in the neighborhood of the family of the killer. There were barricades. They knew they're going to be attacked, and they were like, all of a sudden there was like fortifications around that area of where they live. So it was solved somehow by compensation, like it was solved with money, basically a very high penalty in order to redeem the blood of the one that was killed. But blood vengeance is very, very common, and again, it's a part of that tribal code. Because if you don't revenge, then it means that you're weak. If you're weak, then they'll be all over you. So you cannot show any weakness in these.
And the Israeli government doesn't get involved at all?
They get involved, but there's, like in the Israeli law, okay, let's say you captured the killer, okay, whether he did it, he didn't. In some cases, it's just, there's a fight, but you don't necessarily intend to actually kill the person. But anyway, let's say the Israeli police actually captured the killer, okay? And they throw him to jail for whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that the tribe has to exercise the blood vengeance. Otherwise, in the tribal code, they won't be even. So again, the Israeli, it's so embedded in the culture that how can you get it out? So we have cases like that in Israel, that the blood vengeance went for 20 years, 40, 30 years, stuff like that, until somehow they get to some compromise between them, and they solved it, and then it stopped. The killing stopped. But there's another element to it, that if the family of the one that was killed can revenge, they don't need to kill the person that killed that guy. They can kill any men from that other family. It's called Hamsa, which means 5. I assume you know what Hamsa is, yeah. But Hamsa in this context is you can kill a man from 5 generations. So it could be that person, the killer, or his siblings, his father and his uncles, his grandfather and his brothers, okay? And it goes down, his son and his cousins, and the grandson and his cousin, the second cousins. It's unreal. So it's called the Hamsa, meaning the tribe has to control its people, because otherwise the entire tribe will be endangered. Okay, this is it goes to. I mean, I wanted to talk about the Bedouin society because it's just the way I got to be very familiar with Arabic culture and the tribal culture. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean that there are no cultural differences between the Bedouins and the Palestinians. Specifically in Gaza, there are a lot of Bedouins. So the culture, the very dominant culture there is quite Bedouin. It's not just Palestinian culture. So yeah, just want to add that. Any other questions, guys? Okay. Thank you for sharing. Is there polygamy? Yes. I know a person that was married to 3 wives. I know another guy with 2 wives and 26 children. So yes, there is polygamy. It's not allowed in Israel, but what they do is they get divorced from the first wife. She's still around, and there is the second wife and the third wife, but it's illegal in Israel. But they just the government didn't do much about it, so that's a pity. Are they exempt from the Israeli jurisdiction? No. Where does the tribal code comes from? It's a desert Arab ancient code. Is it from religion? No, it's not from Islam, or just as it has always been. Yeah, it's before Islam. It predates Islam, basically. In a way, you can say that Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad, his plan was, or at least his teaching was, that you should abandon the tribal context. Okay, and don't think of yourself as a member of this or that tribe. Instead of that, the bigger tribe now is Islam. See, so if you want to, you should consider yourself a part of the Ummah, part of the Islamic nation. So if you are now a part of the Islamic nation, then you will never do anything to harm your brother in faith. See, so the faith of Islam spreaded a lot in desert areas. Okay, so from Morocco to Pakistan, a lot of these areas are in different parts of Africa. A lot of these areas are has these desert geography, desert climate, which resonate with the teachings of Islam in a way. Just think about it. In Indonesia, maybe it's an exception, but I'm not very familiar with the history of Indonesia and how. I know how Islam came there through merchants and stuff, but Indonesia, it's not desert. Yeah. So this is again just to give you a little glimpse of my experience with the Bedouins. Yeah, good. Let's continue. I want to move forward to the Bible study, which won't be very long. I wanted to read to you this part in Deuteronomy 32. I wanted to explain something about it. Okay, so Moses is about to die. He will die at the end of the book of Deuteronomy. He has a whole speech going on there, the Shirat Ha'azinu, it's called, the song of Ha'azinu, meaning listen. Okay, and I'm reading just a few verses from this famous poetry. It's a whole poem, I would say, of Moses. Yeshurun grew fat and kicked. Filled with food, they became heavy and sleek. Yeshurun is one of the names of Israel. So when Yeshurun is fat, okay, meaning he's in his country, he's, feel like he's rich, he's wealthy, he's fat, he feels like, okay, I can kick, I don't need God. They abandoned the God who made them and rejected the rock, their savior. Okay, so this is what happens. When you get fat, then you forget about God. And now when you forget about God, then all kinds of other things comes into place, all kinds of nonsense fill your mind and your culture. They made him, God, they made him jealous with their foreign gods and angered him with their detestable idols. Okay? Now, with their nonsense, it's not exactly the Hebrew, I must say. This is about, there is idols and all that, but Evleihem, it means their nonsense, basically. They anger him with their nonsense. They fill their minds with all kinds of other thoughts and ideologies. Verse 17. They sacrificed to false gods, which are not God, gods they had not known, gods that recently appeared, gods your ancestors did not fear. So again, once the Israelis, or the children of Israel, are in their land and they feel comfortable financially and comfortable security-wise, then they forget about God, they forget who brought them here, and they abandon his ways. You deserted the rock who fathered you. You forgot the God who gave you birth. The Lord saw this and rejected them because he was angered by his sons and daughters. I will hide my face from them, he said, and see what their end will be. So hiding the face is it's a motif that appears in many prophecies throughout the Bible. When God is hiding his face from us, disasters happen, basically. Instead of, the famous priestly blessing says that God will shine his face to us, okay? So if he's looking at us, shine with his glory and his radiation, I would say, his light basically is giving us life. But if he's covering his face or hiding his face from us, then all kinds of troubles are coming. Every time I read this, I think about my child and how, you do the peekaboo with a child, where's daddy? Oh, here he is. Okay, and how happy they are when they see the faces smiling at them. So in a way, that's just to illustrate what this means. For they are a perverse generation, children who are unfaithful. Okay? So when the children of Israel are unfaithful, troubles are starting. Now this is, verse 21 is the key, okay? They made me jealous by what is no God and angered me with their worthless idols. I will make them envious by those who are not a people. I will make them angry by a nation that has no understanding. Okay, so what is this expression? It's a very special expression. Hem kinuni belo el, no God. They made me angry or made me jealous with a no God. So it's not that they made him anger. The children of Israel are making God angry by worshiping Baal. Okay, Baal is a deity. We know the deity in this Canaanite deity, El, Baal, Anat. There are many names. Okay, Asherah and all the rest. They are doing it with a no God. Well, what is that no God? There are all kinds of interpretations to it. In a way, they come up with their new ideologies, all kinds of no gods. They worship, I don't know, all kinds of false ideologies or things that fill their empty minds. So what is the payback? Okay, God wants to respond to that. Okay, so let me just, where is it? Yeah, there it is. It says this: I will make them envious by those who are not a people. Okay, the Hebrew is lo am, not people or not nation. So no God. Okay, you have a no God that you're making me angry. I'll give you no nation. So what is that no nation? So in the context of the broader context of the Bible and the Jewish tradition, there are 70 nations. 70 nations of the world after the Great Flood, and all of them has some unique quality to them. Okay? The nation of Israel is that added nation, the 71st nation, and that one added nation is supposed to unite humanity and lead it to worship the one God. Okay, but because they worship no God, God is adding a no people or no nation, the 72nd, let's call it, nation. And that no nation is a nation that its whole identity is the void of Israel. Right? The void that was left by abandoning God, they are entering into that void. And whatever is lacks in Israel, they are there. So modern rabbis in Israel are saying these are the Palestinians. How come? They're saying that this no nation or these no people, they are the Palestinians. So let's try and understand. We talked about it in the past that the foundation of the Palestinian identity is the denial of Israel, the denial of the existence of Israel, the rejection of its existence, the call for its annihilation, and the victimhood. Okay? These are very important pillars of the Palestinian identity. It's a nation that was generated quite artificially by the forces that rejected Israel. Some of these forces are Arab nations, the Arab League, for example, okay, that wanted to keep the Palestinians in refugee camps, and they wanted to forge this Palestinian identity as a tool to push against the Zionist enterprise and the state of Israel. And some of it are Western nations that, through either moral support or financial support, are feeding the no nation. Different, the EU and the whatever they contribute, and the UN and America, there are all kinds of Western nations that are basically saying, oh, they have the right for self-determination too. But in of itself, according to this modern rabbinic interpretation, the Palestinians have no identity of its own. So one way to show it is that, okay, let's say the day happens and there is a free Palestine from the river to the sea. Okay, so what is now their identity? See, so if you do this game, I'm not sure what would be the conclusion. What is the identity of the Palestinians other than the annihilation of Israel? So once it was annihilated, okay, what's next? Who's going to rule here? Is going to be an actual government of the Palestinians, or as Hamas says, there will be a caliphate. It will be one step towards the caliphate. So we'll create a larger, will be a part of a larger empire, or if we'll go back to the 50s and the 60s. Once the West Bank was controlled by Jordan, the claims that no, we should be separate from Jordan were very, very slim. There were barely any voices like that. There were, but not a lot. In Gaza, forget it. Under Egypt, under Egyptian rule, and no one would try to challenge the Egyptian rule and say, no, we deserve to have Gaza Strip as the Palestinian homeland. There was no such calls. It was all a part of a propaganda machine against Israel. So I'm giving you this modern interpretation of these verses, the no God and the no people or no nation. And that's it. That's what I want to share with you here today. Black September, yeah, in Jordan, correct. Anything else, my friends? Whatever is on your mind, feel absolutely free to write down, to open the microphone. Okay. So thank you very much, as always, for your time. I will try to see how can I make it shorter. I'm not sure exactly how, because as you can see, there are all kinds of interesting updates, but we'll figure it out, I guess. Chris, thank you very much. Thank you, Justine, and all the best. Thank you very much for your time. Hope to see you, if not tomorrow, then later this week. Bye, Joyce. Thank you very much. Who else here? John.
Bye-bye. It's
Emily. Thank you very much. All the best, guys.